What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Popcorn Chicken. I'm your host, Alvin, and we're going to get into a lot of Hollywood talk. Breaking news, literally like half an hour ago, big announcement was just dropped about a character. I can't wait to get into it. That's why I started an hour early today. I'm like, you know what? I can't wait. I got to get into all this stuff right now. Our topic of the night is going to be the Oscar nomination. We'll get to that later on in the show. But I'm here to set your weekend. Happy Friday to everybody. Get you some Hollywood news, trailer breakdown, some rumors maybe, and get you up on your weekend. Get your weekend started off on a good note if you're into Hollywood and the pop culture world, that is. All right, let's start right away with this week in Hollywood. We'll do some birthdays and some events. So let's get started here. And thanks for joining me, hanging out with me, whether you're listening to me live or listening to me on a podcast or on the replay. I appreciate all of you guys. Do me a favor, hit the like button, show some support there. And if you're new here, welcome, subscribe, hang out. We do a show every Friday. Myself, I do a show every Friday. Once in a while, maybe some of the members from the team would join us. But every Friday, 4:30 p.m. Pacific time, sometimes a bit early if I'm excited like I am today. I started at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. But let's get started. Let's go. All right, let's do some birthdays right off the bat here. Happy birthday to Cameron Bright, Canadian actor, known for his role in the Twilight Saga and X-Men as well. So happy birthday to Cameron Bright. Cameron Bright is 31 years old. So a youngin who's just making his way into the Hollywood scene, and all the best to Cameron. Happy birthday to Joseph Quinn. You might know him from Stranger Things. Dude with the guitar, I believe. Yes, that is. Joseph Quinn, happy birthday to him. Another young actor, just starting up, and I think he's going to do some great things as well. Very, very likable actor. I think he was one of the standouts in the last Things season. Joseph Quinn is 30 years old. Man, these guys are starting out young and they're getting some big roles. Just the future looks bright for a lot of these people that are getting into acting. All right, let's do another one. It was a pretty slim picking this week for in terms of marquee huge names, but you never want to count out anybody out there who's just starting to make their way into Hollywood. Happy birthday to Rosamund Pike, known for Gone Girl and Private War, The Wheel of Time. Fantastic actress. Happy birthday to Rosamund. She is 45 years young. So happy birthday to her. As I said, it was pretty slim picking. So I don't know if there's any really. Well, there is one more. Pretty big one. Pretty big one in my opinion, because I love the movies that he did. Happy birthday to Elijah Wood. If you don't know Elijah Wood, I don't know what to tell you. You need to watch movies. The Good Son, and of course, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Frodo. Happy birthday to you. Elijah Wood is 43 years young. Man, he killed it as Frodo. Just I can't, if they ever do which they probably will, because it's Hollywood's all about reboots and doing all these movies all over again. If they ever do Lord of the Rings, how do you, whoever's playing Frodo, good luck, because how do you get to that level that he put that character at? I don't know. It's some of the best work I've seen for that level. I mean, it's just amazing. I was really, really impressed with his trilogy for Lord of the Rings. So a bar was set really high, and any character from Lord of the Rings, I think, was nowhere near what Frodo was. I mean, obviously main character, but his level of acting was really, really good. You might say maybe Orlando Bloom as Legolas, I think, or Gandalf. Is it Ian McKellen as Gandalf? I think those two would be pretty close. But yeah, I believe Frodo set the bar high. All right, so those were some birthdays. Let's do some events from this week in Hollywood. Let's start with, let's see here, what do we got? Let's go with, oh, yes. This week in 2006, Walt Disney buys Pixar. Some say it was the death of Pixar right after that. Some say no, they needed that cash to make some more big movies. I don't know what to say to this. I think to me it was a little bit of a blow in Pixar's creativity level. I think they were hampered by Disney buying them and telling them what they can and can't do. I think that they kind of suffered a little bit afterwards. But yeah, it was a smart move by Disney to buy Pixar because Pixar was just killing it, just absolutely killing it. And so they paid 7.4 billion, yes, with a B, billion dollars. This is when they went on their little splurge buying Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar. They were just buying things left, right, and center because they had the money. They were making a lot of money in the 80s and 90s. So they were able to go and buy these IPs and basically create a monopoly in terms of the entertainment industry and have no major competition getting in their way because they just own some of the biggest IPs around. And the money that they invested in these IPs, I still think they didn't get their money back. I think they're at a loss right now, especially when you look at it, 7.4 billion for Pixar, over 4 billion for Star Wars. Star Wars is a dumpster fire right now. They are just hemorrhaging money right now. They made that stupid hotel at Disney World that shut down in what, a few months. It was just a complete waste of money. It was so much hemorrhaging because the leaders at the top are incompetent. That's what it comes down to, right? You have people at the top, aside um, from Marvel, you have a lot of leaders at the top who are incompetent, but even Marvel now. Marvel had a good run, but now they're also falling apart because you can go and argue whatever the reasons are. There's some obvious reasons, right? But I just think that the amount of money that they invested, they really thought they were going to make more than what they invested, and they're in panic mode. I think at Disney World, the Mickey Mouse house is in panic mode right now because things aren't panning out. They're not. Pixar hasn't made major hits. They've had a couple of things here and there go well, but they're not churning out like they used to in the 90s and early 2000s. Star Wars, I just mentioned, is a complete dumpster fire. That new show that they had, I can't even remember the name, but I was looking into watching it, but a lot of people said don't bother. It's not even that good. I will still watch it to see if it is, but I don't know. Disney Plus has been a disaster. A lot of people are unsubscribing from Disney Plus. They're trying to bundle Hulu and ESPN and this and that to get you to continue subscribing to the platforms. And people are like, no. And then they keep raising the prices too. It's a disaster right now. And then Marvel, like I said, also had a good run. They're also falling apart because some of the decisions they made. I can go on for days about some of the choices they made in the last few years that have put their stock at an all-time low for the last few years. Disney should not be losing money with the catalog of what they have, not just their own Disney IPs, but all the stuff that they just bought. There's no way they should be losing money. No way. They should not be losing to Netflix either. They're getting absolutely destroyed by Netflix in terms of streaming popularity. How? It's because of the guys at the people at the top making terrible decisions after decisions and just ruining that brand. And even the theme parks, the cost has gone up so much that they've decided to raise the price where families can't even afford to go to these amusement parks. And they're like, well, I don't feel like spending like $2,000-3,000 just to go to the park for a couple of days. It's crazy. So yeah, this week in Hollywood in 2006, they bought Pixar. Let's see what else is going on here this week. In 1970, a show called MASH premiered. I think that's the word I was looking for. Premiered, 1970. I know my grandfather used to love this show. He used to watch it all the time. After a certain hockey game would be over, they would have MASH literally right after that. That was for me to check out. I was like, my cue to get out of here. But my grandfather will sit there and watch MASH. So I remember him doing that. So I have that connection to MASH. I'm not a fan of MASH. Just that's not my thing. But Yeah, 1970 dark comedy film called MASH, directed, and then they also, then they obviously made a TV show, right? So um, it spanned for years and massive. The MASH IP is massive, right? A lot of people from the 70s and 80s loved that show. What else we got here? We should have a couple more ahead here. Jimmy Kimmel in 2003 debuted on ABC. I mean, I don't know. I watched a few of his stuff. I mean, I like his little thing with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, where the triangle of the three of them, not like have Matt Damon and him having sort of not liking each other, kind of playing that out. It was all right. I mean, I don't really watch Kimmel a lot. I don't have time for the late night shows. Late night shows, I think, in the last 10 years have been severely hit hard with you can't say this, you can't do that. The comedy has been lackluster. Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, all of these shows have just they've been meh. I personally have tuned out. I used to watch when Leno and Letterman were on. Man, those two were just like Muhammad Ali and Tyson in the ring, just knocking out jokes. And they were great. But ever since they left and Conan O'Brien even left, it it wasn't that funny anymore for me. Uh, what else here? Maybe we do one more here for this week in Hollywood. If I can find something relative, I will. Let's see here. Oh, speaking of Conan O'Brien, this week in 2010, Conan O'Brien does the last Tonight Show episode uh, because of the Tonight Show time slot. I mean, I don't know. Conan, I think, got done dirty, but hey, whatever. But he's back, right? I mean, we're going to talk about Oscars later on today. Well, Conan's doing Oscars. So let's see where that comes about. I thought he was a legend when he was writing for The Simpsons. And when he left, I think a lot of laughter left with him. He's he's a genius. He's a genius when it comes to comedy, and it sucks. I lied to you guys. I said I had one more. I actually have two more. Uh, Hogan, the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan in 1984 won the first WWF title. Yes, WWF. They were called WWF back then. For all you youngins who don't know, they had to change their name because the wide worldwide federation or something for animals, pandas, whatever it was, sued them and said change your name. So they changed it to WWE. But he was the first winner in 1984. Defeats the Iron Sheik to win his first World Wrestling Federation title at Madison Square Garden. Hulk Hogan, is he still relative? Is he still important? I mean, he's the immortal Hulk Hogan, right? Like he's one of the most, if not the most popular wrestler of all time. He's in the Mount Rushmore. You can argue that, but I think if you're a wrestling fan, you should, you know, have him in the Mount Rushmore of biggest popular, most influential wrestler of all time. He's there. I don't know about recently. He got booed in California because obviously he's a Trump supporter and he got booed in California. I don't know who decided that was a good idea to put him there in California. What were you guys thinking? Come on, use your brain. But he's still around. Still hanging out, selling his beer. Uh, I don't know. I just think that he just sticks to selling his beer and maybe just go away from WWE. I think he's had his time. He's had more than 30 years in WWE. Time to move on. Stone Cold has done that. Stone Cold's like, thanks, but no thanks. I'm good. I'm gonna hang out at my ranch. I spent 20 plus years killing my body for you guys. We good. But Hogan's like, nah, I gotta sell my beer, right? But whatever. Kudos to him. But yeah, 1984, he was the first WWF title heavyweight champ. So yeah, and then also one last one here because I love the show is in 1983, the A Team debuted on NBC. Mr. T. Oh, Awesome. And he also did WWE at that time and Rocky too. Mr. T was massive in the 80s. If you don't know who Mr. T is, go look him up. A character, an awesome character, living. I mean, like whether he's in a movie or TV show or something like that, he's still the same when he's a regular guy walking around the streets. Mr. T was a walking, live comic book character come to life kind of thing, walking around everywhere. So Mr. T was in A-Team and massive popular show. I used to love watching that show, especially the part where they all get together and build something in the middle. It was that time, that era was like, let's see what you can come up with and build something in the middle of a show, just like MacGyver as well, where he would find some, gum and some ropes and a toothpick and build something out of it. But it was silly and crazy. But you look forward to in the middle of the show where the team would put together something to fight off whatever, you know, villain they had to fight in that episode. But yeah, Mr. T was awesome. I ain't getting on that plane, Hannibal. I pity the fool. That was my terrible impression of Mr. T, but you're welcome. So yeah, Mr. T in 1983 with the A-Team debuted on NBC. Wow. That is a long time ago. Oof. All right. So that is it for this week in Hollywood. Let's get into it. Mr. T had a cartoon and yeah, of course. Yeah, I know. Like I said, that's what I'm saying. He was a walking comic book cartoon, whatever you want to call it, in person. He never changed. Like, you see a lot of people who are actors in a show or something, they'd be completely different. Mr. T was 24/7. 24/7. And I love that man. And to this day, he's an awesome, from what I hear, is a good human being. I could be wrong, but yeah, Mr. T. Awesome. I never had the cereal though. Never had it. I wonder if they gave away like fake gold chains inside the cereal. That would have been a crazy promo. Every kid would buy a cereal box times 5 just to get those chains. Let's get into this week. What's going on in Hollywood? We'll do a couple of rapid fires, and then we'll couple of deep dives into some of these things, and then also a trailer to break down as well. Mickey17. Captain America, A Brave New World is coming out soon. They decided to do it on Valentine's Day weekend, which is odd, but okay. Maybe they want to capture some Super Bowl hype. I don't know. Like the date is just a weird time to release this, but they're saying that the movie has a reported budget of $180 million, and I call bull. That is bull. There is no way this movie cost $180 million. Anthony Mackie and Harrison Ford alone probably commanded $50 to $60 million altogether in their what they wanted for that movie, their pay. So you're telling me if you minus, let's say, even $50 million from that, they made this movie for a $130 million budget? Are you kidding me? Indiana Jones happened to be Harrison Ford happened to be in that movie as well. That movie cost a whopping $387 million. A lot of it had to do with post-production and also, CGI and all that stuff. This movie, Captain America, had several reshoots. That cost a lot of money to bring people back to do those shoots. They don't just do it for free. Yeah, let me just clear my schedule and I'll come back and do another 2-3 weeks of shooting for you guys or whatever it is. There's no way this movie costs $180 million. That is bull. They probably are saying that it costs $180 million without advertising and all the reshoots. Initially, they could say initially it was a $180 million budget. They're just doing this right now. Why? Because this movie looks to be a disaster. Nobody's really hyped for this movie. I hear very little hype about this movie. They might throw a last minute haymaker on Super Bowl weekend to do some extra, maybe another extended trailer or something like that, because they desperately need it. The hype train has to get going off the station real quick, because I don't see this movie being successful. And it's $180 million, because if it gets past $180 million, they're going to be popping champagne bottles and telling you that it was a resounding success. No, I don't think so. I'm not buying that. This movie needs to make $500 million to make it look like it actually did something, that it made a dent. because I think realistically, this movie cost probably over $350 million to make, including advertising, all of it. Easy, over $350 million. So we'll see. My hunch is it's going to be a disaster. I think it's going to bomb. I don't think it's going to do that well. So that's just my hunch. I believe my friend, uh, my A&R co-host, A&R Geekly co-host D is going to go see it without me. So sad, but he's going to see it without me. But he's going to let me know, and I trust his judgment. What else we got going on here? Oh, the Righteous Gemstones. If you haven't seen this show, if you love crazy, funny comedy, just over the top silliness, if you like that kind of stuff, Righteous Gemstones on HBO. It's coming. The four seasons dropping in March, and it will be, sadly, the last season. It'll end, and I think it's okay. It had a good run. The last season was probably the worst out of the three. It did pick up, but it kind of wasn't. It's like, you know what? You're like, okay, I've kind of seen this play out before in this show, but at the end, it was not bad. They always like to, in this show particularly, they like to wait till the end to really pick things up and make it like full gung ho afterwards. But Righteous Gemstones ending this season, season 4, premiering this March. So the gang was awesome. I think they, as a team, they did a fantastic job. Show is pretty funny. I enjoyed it. But yeah, I think it's the right time to pull the plug on the show. It's had a good run, and hopefully they do some crazy stuff here and give you some good laughs and then be on their way. Supergirl has begun filming. The logo for Supergirl is very similar to Superman's logo, as it should be, because they are from Krypton and their houses are connected. And I don't mean like literal houses. I meant like the house of Kal-El's family and her, being cousins, should have very similar logos, because there are Kryptonians that have different logos, right? Because they're from different houses. So yeah, it's nice to see that. It is going to come out on June 26th in 2026. I'm excited. I can't wait to go see it. I think if Superman is going to be good this summer, then it's going to be awesome, because I would love to see the two of them on the big screen, kicking, and asking questions later. And I think having her connected with her cousin is going to be such a great emotional lift for Superman. So I can't wait for him to discover that he's got a cousin from Krypton that he can kind of relate with, and maybe she can teach him some stuff, because she is supposed to be older than him and have some knowledge of Kryptonian ways more than he does, or in a different way. So I'm looking forward to that connectiveness when they finally meet. It's going to be cool. So yeah, can't wait for Supergirl to come out in 2026. What else do we have here that we can kind of rapid fire quickly? Breaking Bad is leaving Netflix. So if you love watching Breaking Bad, or if you're in the middle of watching Breaking Bad, you better get going, because come April 18th, it's gone. I don't understand this. Like, is there a time expiration on these shows? I'm assuming there is. Like, they sign a deal with some company or studio saying, hey, can we get the access rights to this? And they're like, okay, 5 years, and then you're out. But I mean, losing a show like Breaking Bad hurts, because it's such a good show. It is in my top 5 of shows from that type of, the drama, the suspense, that kind of show, that type of show. It's my top 5, in my top 5. I am going to do a top 5 or top 10 of specific genres. Starting with comedy. I'm going to do a top 10 comedy shows of all time next week, or a top 5, depending. I don't want my list to be weak near the end. Like, oh, I'm going to put this in here because of, oh, I feel bad, I don't have this on my list. It gets an honorable mention. I want to do a strong list. So if it's warranted, then I'll do a top 10. Otherwise, I'm going to stick to top 5. So we'll see. But next week, I am going to do a list of my top favorite comedy TV shows of all time, spanning more than 30 years, I believe. Yeah, I think some of the shows are like 30 years old or even 40 years old when they debuted. Ugh. Okay. Yeah, but anyways, I've got already a handful of shows that I think are going to make the list for sure. But I'll do one next week. So join me next week. I will do one for you guys, my top list of comedy TV shows. We'll start with that. Ted season 2 is wrapped up filming and it's going to come out on Peacock soon. Don't know when. Uh, Probably I want to say September. They used to, well, they like to push all of their content into fall because that's when everybody is done with their summer vacations and going out enjoying the sun. They're all like trying to get back to work and school and the grind of the winter for a lot of people who are up north or in the colder climates. So they're gonna probably, I think, announce it release somewhere in September, I believe. If they're smart, they'll do it in September. What else is there? What's going on here? Let's do one more here. Oh yes, this one. So Puck News dropped an article here saying talking about the Michael Jackson documentary that they are filming or about to finish filming, but the third act, this is what they've quoted here, the third act of Michael Jackson biopic has been scrapped and will have to be reshot due to legal issues. What legal issues, you ask? Well, let me tell you. The third act focused on 1993's investigation of Jordan Chandler's claim that Michael Jackson sexually abused him at the age of 13. Jackson's estate forgot they signed a deal with Chandler's family years ago to never include them in any sort of movie rendering. I'm sorry, any sort of movie rendering the third act pretty much unusable. What do you mean they forgot? Didn't the legal team sit there and go, okay, like I know prior to any movie or TV show, there's legal teams sitting down going, okay, this is what you can do, this is what you cannot do. Where did the legal team go here? Did they not sit down and say, okay, this is what you have to do? Because when you have movies, when you have TV shows, and you have, a marquee superstar, like Michael Jackson, there's legal teams sitting there all day long, making sure the family's protected, whether from getting sued or having somebody else out there saying, hey, this is not the agreement we had. I mean, there's got to be documents that these lawyers had, and all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, we forgot. So all that money and time spent filming out the door. Can't use it. I mean, can you imagine the studio? The Jackson family runs up to them and gives them a piece of paper saying, oops, forgot about this little thing that we can't do. Sorry that you just probably spent millions of dollars filming and putting this together. That's not even the problem. The problem now is the movie might be delayed even further because now they have to figure out what to do in the third act. Like, what are they going to do? And now that the cat's out of the bag, everyone's going to be like, hey, we still want to know about this. Like, tell us more, right? So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. This movie's probably going to be doomed. I don't know. If they can find a good third act to fit in there, maybe something just as questionable, then maybe people will kind of forget about this one. But people want to see good drama. This is the society we live in. They want to see the questionable stuff brought to light. It's not to tarnish Michael Jackson's image, but they want to hear about these things that people would often talk about. Never Land, him having kids there all the time. Was any of this true? Eyewitnesses either agreeing or disagreeing with some of the speculations. They want to see that, and this movie would have been worth watching for a lot of people. I'm not speaking for myself. I'm probably going to watch it because I do love Michael Jackson's songs, and Michael Jackson itself, I think, was the king of music. Respect to Elvis Presley, but in my time, he was the best. So we'll see what's going to happen. It's probably going to be delayed a year, and we'll see any news that comes about it. I'll definitely follow up on it. So yeah, Michael Jackson's biopic third act scrapped. Tee-hee-hee. All right, let's get into the some of the bigger news going on here. So there's two big news that dropped today, literally within the last 24 hours, and one of them dropped like a couple of hours ago. I will do that in a second here. I do want to bring up where is it? If I can find it, that'd be great. There it is. Found it. All right. So, the very first picture of Jurassic World Rebirth, starring Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey, has been revealed here. And my question to everybody out there is, do you care? Do you even care? Like, do you even. Oh, what am I doing to myself here? There we go. Do you even care? Why are they doing another Jurassic Park movie? I mean, I know why they're doing the Jurassic Park movie, but I would have loved it if they just put Jurassic Park on ice. Let it sit there for about a decade. If you could prolong it longer, great. Do it for 15 years. Let it sit there. Let it stay there. Let people forget about the last three Jurassic Park movies, which were, in my opinion, not that great, especially the last one. Oof. That was terrible. People forget. People will then get interested because who doesn't want to see dinosaurs on the big screen? Who doesn't want to see that? That iconic moment when the T-Rex finally shows up on Jurassic Park 1, when we see the water shaking, and then finally we see the T-Rex in all his glory, belting off the most iconic Jurassic Park's, roar. We'll never forget that. We'll probably forget a lot of the plot in the movie, but we'll never forget that. And we need to forget this IP for a while to be excited for it. And I just think that they're greedy and they think they're gonna. I mean, I don't even know what this is. They're calling it Jurassic Park Rebirth? So is it a reboot of the whole thing? Are we let to forget the first three existed? Like, what is this? Until we know, I don't even know what else to say about this. Like, I just think it's too soon to restart this whole thing again. This movie has to be like spectacular. It has to be fantastic for it to have any chance. And the only way it's going to have a chance is if the early reviews come in, people who get to see it a little bit earlier, maybe a couple of days earlier, blow up the internet and say, hey, you guys all better go on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, see this movie, and the week after go see this movie. It is fantastic. They got a killer movie on their hand. It's the only way this movie has a chance. The trailers, people are like, oh, cool, trailers. Young kids might be excited because they love dinosaurs. Who doesn't? But maybe some family members will go in there if this is not too scary. Because Jurassic Park 1, I don't think little kids should have went and see that movie because it wasn't that friendly. It was pretty scary, and I think a lot of kids under the age of 6 or 7 probably got scared. But I honestly thought that they would just kibosh this IP for a while, wait 15 years, and then bring it back again where people are hungry and excited and want to see it again because they love the 1990s Jurassic Park or the early 2000 Jurassic Parks, and they want to feel that rush again, right? So I don't know. They've got their hands full here with this. Scarlett Johansson, she's fantastic, but we'll see. So it is coming out on July 2nd. So during the Independence holiday for all the Americans and Canadians 2 days later for their holiday. It's going to be in the middle of summer. I don't know. I don't know what to say to this. We'll see. All right. And then the big news that dropped today, a couple of big news in the last 24 hours. Hollywood Reporter is, there's two. One of them I have here. Can open this up. That'd be great. So Hollywood Reporter is reporting. Oh, that was weird. Um, that there we go. Bigger art. There you go. Yeah. Daisy Ridley Star Wars movie enlist writer George Nolfi. That's a interesting last name. Nolfi. Exclusive. The Ocean's 12 writer will take on the new Jedi Order. Ugh. I don't know. The new Jedi Order. So I knew this was going to come. I knew this is Kathleen Kennedy trying to wipe out everything that Star Wars fans come to know and love and insert her nonsense in here and make Daisy Ridley's character um, the next big Yoda or Anakin or legacy type of character. I'm sorry. No offense to Daisy. I think she's fantastic. She wasn't the problem in those movies. It's her character that they wrote, and then the whole stories in that trilogy were terrible. It was god awful. People want to forget that. A lot of people who are Star Wars fans want to forget that trilogy. And here they are like, you know what? You know what people would love since we made it a debacle of that trilogy? They would love more of this character. They would love more of this character in developing the next generation of Star Wars movies and TV shows. Let's have her be the center focus. And I just think that's a terrible idea. They're the new Jedi Order. Like they're like, hey, Luke couldn't do it. Luke sucked at it. So we're gonna have Daisy Ridley's Rey be the new Luke. Good luck to you guys. But I'll be the first one to say it. If I go watch this movie and it's good, I'll eat my crow. I'll be the first one to say I was wrong. But I can tell you right now, this is not what they should have done. This is not the direct. They should have just forgotten all of this and moved on. Just moved on from all of this and start fresh. Do something different because a lot of people didn't like it and are not liking what they're doing right now. All the shows have not been that great. You know, you have your Rosario Dawson's show. You have the only show that's been good was The Mandalorian season 1 and 2. The last season was not that good. And they got the Mandalorian movie coming out. Does anybody care for that movie as much? Is it going to be that big? I mean, you've already seen Grogu and him hang out. I mean, how much more can they do there? Right? They're just really squeezing that orange juice, getting that orange pulp out of there real quick. They're like, you know what? We got to get every last drop out of this. So we'll see. They're trying to put their whole team together. I think the crows are safe. Thank you, Cowabunga dude, for saying that. Yeah. But going back to this, so they're gonna do this movie. Whatever, how this is gonna be connected to the future movies, we'll see. But they also announced that Ryan Gosling is going to be in a new Star Wars movie. I don't have the details of it here, but Ryan Gosling is going to be in a Star Wars movie, and he wasn't immediately. I think of Blade Runner. I mean, because he did Blade Runner, he was in Blade Runner, but I immediately thinking of Blade Runner. Everyone's going to compare that. I'm going to say, oh, you're just taking Blade Runner's story or character, and maybe you're going to do a Star Wars show. We don't know what it is. It's very early in development. We don't know. Obviously, it takes place in the future. From what I gather. But if you're doing a Ryan Gosling movie, which I heard has nothing to do with the trilogies or any of it, has nothing to do, it's supposed to be its own standout movie, and then you're going to do this, then you're going to do The Mandalorian. You're doing 3 different types of movies here. What direction are you planning on going? There is no direction. There's no concrete plan. It's just like throw something and see if it sticks on the wall, and we'll be fine. And it goes back to the person at the top. They don't know what they're doing. She does not know what she's doing. She has no clue. She's just trying to make money to save her face. And she even said it. As soon as I get a hit, I'm out of here. That's my cue to leave. So like I said, let's pray one of these is a hit so she can get hit the road and be gone and get somebody who's competent, who's a fan first, understands the lore, uh, actually has real balance, right, in the movies and TV shows, and doesn't go destroy what's been laid already, a beautiful story, and go trample all over it because you need to insert your own agendas in there. So let's see. You got three different types of movies coming out. The more I hear about, maybe next week I'll dig into more what Ryan Gosling's movie is all about. But the more information I get from that, I'll mention it. But it's just so weird to have three different movies going on in different directions. Uh, there's no talk of any of this is connected. Maybe it's a good thing. I mean, thank God, maybe it's not connected because I don't know which. I honestly, in my opinion, I think all three are not going to be good. I think all three, at best, are going to be mid-level movies. If I had to pick one, I think that would be the best is probably Ryan Gosling's movie because it's not connected to any of this filth that they've rolled out in the last few years or last decade. Because it's going to be its own kind of thing, and maybe that's something what people want, where it's something new, refreshing. We'll see. But that is what's going on in Star Wars, and it's so sad to see what has become of Star Wars. Complete dumpster fire. Complete dumpster fire. All right. I sometimes I get excited to talk about things like this, and then I read the article and I'm like, oh man, why you guys got to do this to me? All right, where are we at? We're getting close to an hour mark here, so I am gonna try to get some of the stuff in here and get you guys out and enjoy your weekend. Let's see here. Let's get that one out. There is. I do have one. Brad Pitt. Okay, I missed this article earlier, but Brad Pitt will star in a movie called The Heart of the Beast by David Ayers, who is set to direct it. It's The description is the survival thriller follows a former special forces soldier and his retired dog. I'm already sold. I'm a dog lover. I'm already sold. Who battle for survival after a plane crash deep in the Alaskan wilderness. Love it. Sign me up. I'm in. I'm watching this movie. One, love Brad Pitt. Two, love dogs. And I love a good survival movie. I love survival movies. Puts man to its limits. So this is sourced by Deadline. There's no release date of it, anything like that. This is just in early stages right now. It's in development. He just got casted for the role, The Heart of the Beast. So keep an eye on that. I'll definitely keep an eye on that, and I'm definitely interested in watching it. So it's gonna be fun. Funny news here: Scary Movie 6. Well, 6. Wow. Okay. The Wayne brothers are developed the movie. It is scheduled to release July 12th of 2026. That's gonna be hilarious. The Wayne brothers have been rocking it for over 40 years. That is crazy. And it's like, dad and son, brother and sister was also involved, the Wayne sister. But it's just, yeah, that family is just gifted in doing comedy stuff. So good. Countless TV shows, movies. Wow. What a family. Talented family. Okay, so the big news. If I can find it on here, I'll just click on this here and find it. There it is. All right. So the big news that just dropped literally about an hour and a half ago is Deadline reports this. Deadline has reported that. Oh, yeah, that's great. I just put this behind my screen. There it is. Not based on this is not what I'm looking at. There's so many. Why does Deadline have so many? Like, oh my god, here we go. Let's restart this. Ulrich Thomsen, Ulrich Thomsen, to play DC supervillain Sinestro in HBO's Lantern TV show. I thought it was a movie. Never mind, TV show. But he's probably going to cross over into the movie. So technically, I'm not wrong. Ulrich is going to be casted as Sinestro. If you don't know who Sinestro is, basically he's the number one Green Lantern villain. He holds the yellow ring. I can't remember, was it yellow ring of jealousy, anger, envy, something like that. Take it easy, all Lantern fans. Don't come after me. Is going to be turned rogue and is described as a ruthless and yet undeniably charming Sinestro. Manipulative nature drives his enduring obsession with the former mentee Hal Jordan. Sinestro was credited by John Broome and Gil Kane in the first appearance in the comic book of Volume 2, number 56, released in 1961. So it is a legacy villain. It's been out for a long time. And I don't mind this. I think he looks the part. I mean, just look at him. Get him to show, an angry Sinestro-ish face and sold. Do some painting on his face, and, make him a little bit red because Sinestro the reddish in the comics, just like you see right there next to him. Yeah, this is a great choice. And Sinestro's not like some buff, overpowering villain. He uses the ring, for God's sakes. He does his, oh my God, these commercials. This is crazy. Come on, Deadline. Nobody wants to see these commercials right in the middle of your stupid articles here. Come on. Ridiculous. Deadline's worse than IGN, for God's sakes. And IGN's pretty bad too. But yeah, I'm excited for this. This is massive news. This is going to the development of this show has been around for a while. I've been hearing about this for years. So I'm glad they're moving in the right direction, because I thought James Gunn was going to come in there and just scrap all of it and say, no, we're not doing this anymore, because it was in development prior to James Gunn being announced, from what I know. I have to double check that. But I remember hearing about it before James Gunn even came on as a DC, in charge of DC. But let's get this going. Been waiting long enough. Let's go. Let's pump this. I think having this show it's a buddy cop show. So you're going to have two Lanterns, right? You're going to have Hal and John in there. And I think that's going to be a good way to, is it Hal and Jordan, or is it Kyle Reiner and John? Sorry. I think it's Hal. Yeah, it's Hal and John will be in there, but John Stewart. But it's going to be good, because I think it's going to have that HBO money. It's not going to be cheaply made. Like, it's not going to be a WC production. No offense to anybody who loves WC, but they didn't have the biggest budget. Remember, some of the stuff you saw as in CGI was god awful, because they would blow all their budget on just that one CGI. And they're like, yeah, well, we can't really do any more of this for the rest of the season, because we just blew it all in this 20-minute CGI in the show. But excited, waiting for the first trailer to come out. Let's get this going. I think this will do a great service to getting DC on the map, because a lot of people watch HBO shows just because the HBO is known for a lot of quality, right? So a lot of people, even people who are not comic book fans, if they do the show where it's a very buddy cop kind of thing, and then you sprinkle in the powers and you sprinkle in the galacticness of it, I think this has the makings of a really good show. I don't know if it's going to get to, like, let's say Game of Thrones level. I don't think it's going to get to that height, but I think if it gets anywhere close, even like maybe top 5 that year for HBO shows, that's a success. And that should definitely help with DC movies and getting the casual fans inside those theaters, because that's where you make enough money to fund multiple movies. You got to get the casual fans inside those theaters. The nerds will show up. That's not a problem. The nerds will show up. You got to bring the nerd's wife, kids, uncle, aunt, in there as well. That's when you can say, okay, we made $1 billion or close to it. Now we can go fund the next project and the next one. That's what Warner Brothers needs. They desperately need that. So shows like this, if it's real successful, you're gonna have more people interested in the overall picture uh, of DC and say, okay, you got me here. Let's see. Look on the top there. It says breaking news: Brad Pitt to star. I just mention that. Look at that. Huh? See, I'm on top of my stuff. I know what I'm talking about, people. All right. Uh, our topic of the evening. I wish it was Sinestro because I saw that. I'm like, oh, why wasn't this announced like 10 hours earlier? So I could put that as my topic of the evening. But our topic of the evening is two things. We have the Mickey17 trailer, which we'll do right now, and the Oscar nomination. So let's do the Mickey17 trailer breakdown. I'm going to pause it in between. I'm going to have the sound off because Warner Brothers will probably strike me if I don't. So let's do here. Let's do share screen. All right, here we go. Plan B. Let's play it. Robert Pattinson, by the way, the main actor, as you'll see. So there he is, right there. And man, dude, this dude is skinny, man. I hope you're gonna bulk up for Batman, bro. He's really skinny in this movie. Please, for God's sakes, bulk up. I need you to be bigger than what you were in the last Batman. Just bulk up. So this is some sort of futuristic movie. So it takes place years, decades in the future, probably hundreds of years. It's supposed to be a little bit of comedy sprinkled in with action, and obviously sci-fi. So there you go. There's your sci-fi-ness. I think that's a cool looking shot. So he's basically, how do I say it? The guinea pig of going for galactical exploration. So he's the guinea pig there. They send him down there, tell him to take his helmet off, and then tell him to breathe in the air. So if there's any viruses or pathogens or things like that that could kill humanity, he's the one that goes in first to check it all out. And if you're wondering, that's mean. Well, you'll see in a second why he goes in first. So here's all the scientists telling him what to do. Hey, breathe in as much as you can. We want to see make sure that it's not toxic for humans to go and breathe. So he does that. And he's like, yeah, it's pretty good here. Life is good. You guys can come down. And breathes in everything. And he's like, yeah. And then everyone's like, ah, oh, sweet. Yeah, awesome. And then you just see him throw up. And it is probably deadly because he's throwing up blood. And yeah, it is deadly. So he dies. Gets killed. And then they just toss him in the incinerator here. And you're wondering, what? Is he the main character? Yeah, he is. Because, oh, there you go. You have the Hulk there hanging out. You see him again. You're like, what's going on here? Well, Mickey is a clone. He gets cloned. He's like I said, he's their guinea pig. He's their clone that they're going to keep cloning into as many times they want to do specific tasks. And here he is again, born. So I'm assuming that's his love interest. They're in some sort of military. Director of Parasite. So if you love Parasite and you like the direction that Parasite went, you're probably going to like this one. Like I said, comedy, sci-fi, and adventure, right? Going to have all that kind of mushed in. And I think it could be a good. There they are testing him, and he does odd jobs to it, and then his hand just gets cut off there. That's pretty crazy. I was like, whoa, okay. So a little bit of gore-ish, bloody type of movie. Not for the kids. So he just figuring out, like, what the hell? Why am I always getting killed? And eventually he catches up to him, right? So, hey, that's Invincible. The gentleman who voices Invincible. I can't remember his name. He was also in Walking Dead. But, yeah, a lot of explosions. Crash test dummy, anyone? Oh man, that is an awesome picture right there. I gotta say, Patterson does a pretty good Like he's a pretty good comedian. I mean, like, in terms of comedy movies, he does a good job. His facial expressions are pretty good. The guy is talented. Got to give him that. Uh, yeah, we have the higher power here of the douches of the ship, as they say, and then you have the nice people of the ship. This is the part that was pretty funny because he finds out that for the first time that he is a clone of himself. So Mickey 17, I'm assuming, is the number that he's 17th version of himself. And I guess this is either 16 or this is 18 because I did see 18 and 17 on the trailer here in a second. So he just finds out and he freaks out. Oh man. And the song, I can't play the song because I'm gonna get definitely copyright. But the song is great in here. It really fits in. So you see the two of them fighting and one of them throws something at the other one. Uh oh, did I actually press that? Oops. Yeah, there you go. So they brand him. That's great. Oh, yeah, there it is right there. So they press. Ah, geez, come on. There it is, 17 and 18. So I'm assuming, yeah, Mickey. They press, uh, whichever. They don't show quickly cut off right there, but there he is in the 3D printed. His body gets 3D printed, right? And then he comes out of this chamber here. I guess 3D printer chamber, and the way he comes out of that's pretty hilarious too. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think this is going to be a good movie. It's something different and it's not a reboot. For God's sakes, thank you. I don't know if it's based on a book or not. Not sure, but I'm excited about this. I like Patterson. I think he's got a good range, and he just showed it here with some of his expressions about comedy. And I'm not going to be in the country at the time it comes out, but when I get back, I definitely want to go check this out. I think it's fun. It's going to be a fun movie. It's definitely weird, man. It's got some weird vibes to it, and I'm digging it. I think we need this. This could be. This could be. Every once in a while, you get a movie that comes out of left field and just kind of surprises people. I think this movie could be it. This could be it. This has a potential to be a really fun movie that a lot of people kind of gravitate towards, and it's coming out during just before spring break. So I think it might have the legs to maybe for a couple of weeks be in the theaters and make some decent money. So I don't know what the budget for this is, but yeah, I do like this. There's two of them here. So, and I'm assuming they're gonna have different characteristics. I could be wrong, but if they do, that just gives him more. You're just gonna praise him more for his range of doing multiple characters, right? And assuming it won't be just 17 and 18, it's gonna be more than that, and they might have different characteristics. And if he plays them all different ways, hey, hats off to him. He's dying. Okay. Well, yeah, a lot of times. Does he care? No. To save mankind. Okay, that's good. Looks like balls out fun, man. Can't wait. Look at all these creatures. Whoa, grotesque looking creatures. But yeah, oof, a lot of shooting and killing. All right then. Ooh, look at that. So whenever I said adventure, I mean action too. Look at him. He's probably gonna get killed there, and then there'll be another version of him come out of nowhere and take this guy out. Maybe that would be funny. It's like, you got seven. No, you got 16, but 17 is right behind you. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Mark Ruffalo. That's his name. I keep forgetting his name. Mark Ruffalo. So we'll see. I don't know why she's attacking him. Is this another version of him trying to kill the one she loves? Don't know. But yeah, we'll find out. Look at that machete. Machete. This is gonna be good. March 7th premieres in theaters. If you like this kind of movie, comedy, sci-fi, action, adventure, go check it out. Good times. Mickey 17. I'm all aboard, ready to go. Sign me up. All right. Our final and main topic of the evening is, are Oscar nominations getting out of hand? Hear me out. That's what I mean. We'll go over some of the list here of Oscar nominations and sections of what, the different types of Oscars you can win. So let's take a look at here, some of the list. All right. So we have Best Director, Best Actress, Best Actor, Best Supporting Cast, Supporting Actor, Original Screenplay, Adapted Screenplay, International Feature, Documentary, Animated Feature, Cinematography, Costume Design, Film Editing, Production Design, Original Score Song, Best Sounds, Visual Effects, Makeup, Documentary, Art Short, Live Action Short. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the sheer number of people or movies being nominated per section. It's 5, and you're like, oh, it's always been 5. That's not the point. What I'm trying to say is there's way too many people being selected. I think what they need to do is make this more of a 3 or 4-legged race. Scrap the 5. It's too many. We know when you do probably 5 of them, at least 2 of them are pointless. They don't have a chance in heck. Once in a while we get surprised, right? But rarely do we get surprised. Most of the time we know which one is going to generally win or which 2 is generally going to have the lead in winning. I think if you want to make this exciting, you make it shorter, because then you're like, oh, okay. Because there's people that play odds on this too, right? They bet too, and you have 5 here. I mean, come on. I just think that 3 would be the ideal in my number. Is then you're like really being selective too, and some of them are getting nominated here because Hollywood studios are probably like telling them, "Hey, can you just put us in this group here so we can just make more money from the sales of Blu-rays because our name's up here? We could say we've been nominated," and then they get money. I think a lot has to do with that too. But the one that did get out of hand quite a bit is Best Picture. Now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, what happened here? Why did Best Picture double versus all the other ones? Don't give me that argument like, well, there's so many good movies out there. But that's the tough decision you have to make. Shrink this down. This is crazy. 10? You have a Nora? Never watched it. And just because I didn't watch it doesn't mean I think the movie's terrible or anything. I didn't watch it, so I don't know, right? The Brutalist, The Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. 10? Really? Do you need to put 10 in here? That's crazy. And I'm sure there's arguments for all of these ones here, but you gotta bring this down to 4 because it's more exciting. I think it just makes it harder for people to predict, and those 4 movies that are chosen, they deserve the flowers in because you have some. I think The Crows are safe. Yeah, I know. I right here just reading what you were saying earlier, but I think The Crows are safe again for me when I'm saying this right now here, because I honestly think this being shorter of a list gives the winning team or the winning movie and winning director, whoever it is, the winning group, more flowers. They deserve it because they're like, of all the movies, and there's literally hundreds of movies worldwide, right? Because the Oscars does movies from around the world too. And you shrink it down to a smaller list, makes it even more rewarding for the people who didn't win because you're one of 3 in that section from the entire years of movies. It makes it even more special for them. They're like, you know what? At least we made this insane list. We were broken down to top 3 here. And then they don't look like asses when they don't win. And then also when a movie wins and a lot of people go, that's the wrong movie that was chosen. Why did anybody choose that movie? I think this is a softer blow when that happens, you're like, okay, that movie won because there's only 3 of them, and at least the other 2 were nominated. It just feels more. What does God want to say? It's good business to put Best Picture nominee on your movie. Of course, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. It's these studios have gone to. I know they have, probably, most likely, because they're like, hey, Oscars, guys, can you just nominate us in some category? Oh, how about Best Picture? Just make it 10 this year. Blow that up to 10. Because where does this stop? Best Director is going to be 10. Best Actress. Or what about Best CGI or documentary? I mean, heck, we get so many documentaries off the Yin Yang every year. And some of them are spectacular, don't get me wrong. But where does it end? Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You have 5 for Best Documentary Features. What's stopping them from doing 10? You're just watering down now the Oscar. The exclusive nature of being in the top 3 nominations now just got watered down to 5 to 10. And like I said, where does it stop? And so that prestige, that the hard work that you've put in, it just feels less rewarding, feels less impactful, or less of a good feeling, because you're lumped in with 9 other movies. And credit to all of them. I'm sure most of these movies that are up for nomination for Best Picture are good. I just feel that the smaller the list, the more stronger and more, more of a good feeling. And then also, like, fans who watch this are going to be on edge going, okay, these are 3 good movies. How the heck are they going to pick one of them to win? They're 3 bangers of a movie here. In the Best Picture here, the 10 that they have list here, I have seen Dune only. And for me personally, I thought it was okay. I mentioned this before in our other show that I'm not a fan of Dune's deep lingo. If you're a fan of it, you're probably loving it. I thought that was a turn off for me. Like, I was just like, I don't understand most of the stuff you're saying here. They're speaking in this, it's almost like Latin, or like the specific, I can't remember. There was a name for it. The Dune books, they have it's like an old English type of conversations, right? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not following you. I'm sorry. It's just me, right? And it kind of was a turnoff for me in terms of how I perceive that movie. And don't get me wrong, it was beautifully shot, and there's some good actors in there. I'm not trying to say it's a terrible movie, but it's just not something that I care to think of in my top 10. But hey, it got nominated here. I haven't seen any of the other movies. From all accounts, I heard Wicked is good. Don't know. I just heard it from people. Amelia Perez on Netflix. A lot of people talked about that. Like I said, I don't know again. Conclave and Substance, I heard from some of my friends saying this was a good movie. But what I didn't hear from everybody out there was this was the best movie of the year. I know some people have watched multiple movies in this category, and nobody said to me that one of these stands out. I haven't seen a whole lot on social media saying, when this list got announced, what was it, 24 hours ago, something like that? I went on the interwebs to see what other people are talking about, how they're looking at this list. And a lot of people saying, yeah, it's a good list. It's got some good choices on there. But nobody's like, hey, this movie is clear-cut winner, or these 3 movies are clear-cut winners. I don't see that. And then I'm like, okay, well, then if you don't see that, then why is there 10 here? And like Cowabunga Dude, you said, it's good business to slap a sticker on your Blu-ray cover saying nominated for Best Picture, because it's going to pull people into, oh, watch it, rent it, buy it, whatever it is, stream it. When I mean rent it, not Blockbuster, I mean rent it on Amazon, or, places where you can purchase movies. There's still places online you can purchase movies. Not everything's on streaming anymore. But Yeah, I honestly feel that if you shorten the list from 5 to 3, Best Picture definitely should only be 3, I think, in all categories. Come on, Oscars. The critics, you guys, roll up your sleeves and get to work. Make this more exciting, make this more difficult to predict. And then set the bar high. Like, you got to say to these people, like, hey, I know there's 10 of you out, but there's going to be 10 movies this year that's going to be good, but guess what? We're only nominating 3 of you, right? So I think this also props up a lot of studios to do a better job in making quality movies. The aim is to be like, what studio doesn't want to be nominated and win an Oscar? It only does wonders for their stock options, right? It does great for their business. So I think that the smaller the nomination, the more rewarding it is for Oscars. 'Cause the Oscars, they aren't what they used to be. How many people are really tuning in to watch Oscars these days? I think more people are tuning in to watch the Razzies than they are with the Oscars, right? Society's changed, right? Like, not a lot of people, the generations, they're coming out, the younger generations, they really don't care too much about the Oscars. It's a sort of an older crowd thing now. Uh, Not everybody. I'm saying predominantly, it's more of like people in their late 30s to higher who are looking at the Oscars and maybe watching it on TV. A lot of the younger generations, they don't care. They'll just find it online and who won, and they're like, okay, cool. So I think if you want to change it up, make it harder. Make it harder, make the list smaller, make it more exciting, uh, make it more unpredictable of who's gonna win. And whoever wins, they get rewarded because it was such a battle to win it. And then also the two losers, runner-ups, they should be getting their flowers too, because they went from hundreds of movies down to the last 3. So they should get some flowers for that too. And then you could slap the sticker on your Blu-ray and say, damn right, we were nominated. Only 3 of us got nominated. How do you like them apples? Huh? Instead of these 10 being, yeah, we're one of 10. That's all I got to say for today, man. I talked a lot today. Talked about a lot of cool stuff coming down. Some stuff that's kind of weird that's coming down. Uh, Star Wars talk, DC talk. Mickey17 looks like it's going to be potentially a really good movie. Oscar buzz coming here. I enjoyed today's show. I had a lot of fun doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Me just giving you some insight on what's going on in Hollywood, throwing you some interesting talk of what's transpiring in Hollywood. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate all of you guys. I'll be back next week with a list of my favorite comedy TV shows of all time, spanning 3 or 4 decades. Yeah, so hope you guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Have fun wherever you are. Stay safe. Take care. And we'll see you guys next week.